Look at your hands right now. Really look at them. Are you absolutely certain that you are awake? It seems like a ridiculous question. You can feel the weight of your device, you can hear the hum of the room around you, but consider this. Every night, you enter a world that feels just as real. You touch walls that feel solid. You feel emotions that make your heart race. You run from shadows. You fly over cities. And while you were there, you never question its reality. You accept the illusion completely until the moment you wake up. Now, imagine for a moment that the state you are in right now, this waking life, is just another layer of that same dream. What if the only difference is that this dream lasts a little longer? The ancient Egyptians didn't believe sleep was a pause. They believed it was a gateway. And Itzhak Bentov, the scientist who stalked the wild pendulum of consciousness, suggested that what we call reality is just a hologram we stabilize with our minds. Most people spend 30 years of their lives asleep. 30 years in a coma of unconsciousness. They drift into the dark, replay their memories, and wake up with nothing gained. But there is a secret instruction hidden in the emerald tablets that describes a different way. A way to wake up while your body sleeps. A way to turn the dream world from a passive movie into a hyper-realistic laboratory for your soul. Before we unlock the first seal of the Dream Gate, if you were one of the 2% who suspect that sleep is not just rest, but a night school for the spirit, please click subscribe and turn on notifications. You are here because you are ready to stop sleeping through your life and start decoding the reality you are living in. We are taught from childhood that sleep is a biological necessity, a time for the brain to flush out toxins and archive memories. Science tells us it is a shutdown mode, but the ancient mystery schools called it something else. They called it the little death. They understood a profound truth that modern neuroscience is only just beginning to scratch the surface of. The mechanism of falling asleep is identical to the mechanism of dying. When you drift off, your sensory inputs disconnect. The signal from your eyes, your ears, and your nerves is cut off. Your consciousness, which was focused on the physical 3D world, unhooks itself from the bodily interface. In that moment of transition, you are floating in a void. For the untrained mind, this void is unconsciousness. You black out. But for the initiate, this void is the launch pad. Thoth's prophecy regarding the disconnection from the matrix hints at this very separation. Itzhak Bentov described this using the metaphor of a pendulum. He explained that our consciousness oscillates between the physical world and the non-physical field at incredible speeds. So fast we see it as a solid continuity. But there is a rest point, a moment where the pendulum stops before swinging back. That point is the doorway. Sleep allows us to stay in that expanded field longer. The deception is that we treat this expanded field as unreal. We dismiss it as just a dream. But Thoth warns us that this is the ultimate trap. By dismissing the dream world, we dismiss our true power. We are like kings who spend half their reign as beggars, simply because we forgot we own the castle. The watchers mentioned in Thoth's final warning thrive on this ignorance. They prefer you unconscious. They prefer you passive, because a human who can wake up in their dreams can eventually wake up from the physical matrix itself. So, what exactly is the dream state? If we strip away the psychology of Freud and Jung and look at it through the lens of simulation theory and Hermetic law, the answer is terrifyingly simple. The dream state is a rendering sandbox. It is a lower density simulation where the lag time between thought and manifestation is removed. In this physical world, if you want to build a house, you must gather materials, labor for months, and fight against gravity. The feedback loop is slow. But in the dream world, the astral plane, thought becomes reality instantly. You think of a door, and a door appears. You fear a monster, and the monster manifests. This isn't chaos, it is training. You are in a simulator designed to teach you the most dangerous power in the universe: responsibility for your own creation. Consider the concept of the holographic universe. If the universe is indeed a hologram, then your brain is a transceiver. During the day, your transceiver is tuned to channel Earth, a dense, shared consensus reality with strict rules. At night, you switch frequencies. You enter a private server. This is why Thoth and the ancients emphasized the sound matrix and frequency codes. They knew that navigating this private server was the prerequisite for navigating the afterlife. Now, picture this. You are standing in your childhood home in a dream. Everything looks real, but then you notice something. The clock on the wall has no numbers, or your hand has 6 fingers. In that split second, you realize, I am dreaming. The simulation doesn't collapse. Instead, it brightens. The colors become vivid. You are now lucid. You have hacked the code. You are no longer a passive victim of the script. You are the director. This is where the God code hidden inside you activates. But here is the catch. Most people use this power to fly or fulfill desires. They treat it like a video game. The initiate, however, uses it as a laboratory. They go into the simulation to test the laws of physics, to heal their own cellular memory, or to access information unavailable to the waking mind. They know that the forbidden meditation techniques of Bentov are most effective here, in the zero-point field of the dream. To understand how you can exist outside your body, we must return to Itzhak Bentov's forbidden equation. Bentov proposed that our reality is like a movie projector. The light flashes on and off so quickly that the picture appears stable. But what happens in the darkness between the frames? Bentov called this the wild pendulum effect. He theorized that when the pendulum of our consciousness reaches the limit of its swing, the point of zero velocity, it doesn't just stop. It tunnels out of this dimension entirely. It expands into the absolute point where consciousness becomes reality. In your waking life, your biological senses keep you anchored to the middle of the swing, the dense, slow-moving physical world. But when you sleep, the anchor is lifted. Your brain waves slow down from beta to alpha and finally to theta and delta. These are not just slower rhythms, they are key cards. As you descend into delta, you are essentially synchronizing your consciousness with the still point of the universe. You're entering the space between the frames of the material world. This explains why time in dreams feels elastic. You can live a lifetime in what seems like minutes, or fly across oceans in a heartbeat. In this state, you're no longer governed by Newtonian physics. You are operating in a quantum fluid, a conscious hologram, where the observer and the observed are one and the same. The environment around you in a dream is not separate from you, it is you. The walls, the sky, the people, they are all projections of your own frequency code. However, this freedom comes with a price. Because the astral plane is responsive to thought, it is also responsive to chaos. An undisciplined mind creates a chaotic reality. This is why Thoth's teachings emphasize the sound matrix and the mastery of one's own vibration. If you enter this realm with fear, the hologram will instantly reshape itself to reflect that fear. You literally manifest your own nightmares. This brings us to the most terrifying aspect of the dream gate, the guardians who stand watch.
Many of you have experienced this. You are hovering on the edge of sleep, or perhaps waking up, but you cannot move. A heavy weight presses on your chest. You feel a presence in the room, shadowy, malevolent, watching you from the corner. Modern science calls this sleep paralysis and dismisses it as a misfire of motor neurons. But the ancients knew better. Thoth warned of the Watchers and the cosmic battle for your soul. This phenomenon is the encounter with the dweller on the threshold. In the esoteric anatomy of the soul, there is a safety mechanism installed to prevent the unready from projecting their consciousness too far. When you begin to wake up within the dream, you light up on the astral plane like a flare in a dark forest. This light attracts attention. The entities or thought forms that inhabit these lower dimensions are drawn to your energy. They are the scavengers of the consciousness system. Thoth describes a consciousness trap where these entities feed on low vibrational energy, fear, lust, and anger. By inducing terror through sleep paralysis, they provoke you to release a burst of emotional energy, a food source often called loosh. They are not necessarily demons in the religious sense. They are parasitic functions of the matrix, designed to keep you in line. They are the immune system of the simulation, attacking anything that tries to wake up unauthorized. The mistake most people make is fighting the paralysis. You struggle, you panic, you try to scream. This only feeds the feedback loop. The secret key, hidden in the forbidden prophecy of Thoth, is counterintuitive. You must surrender to the fear, not to the entity, but to the sensation itself. You must vibrate higher than the fear. When you realize that the shadow in the corner can only hurt you if you believe in its solidity, it dissolves. You pass the test. The gate opens. Consider this. If you cannot face a shadow in your own bedroom, how can you expect to navigate the infinite dimensions of the afterlife? This challenge is not a punishment. It is a filter. Only those who have mastered their own internal God particle and conquered their primal fear are allowed to access the higher libraries of the universal cloud. The paralysis is the final exam before you are granted the wings of the lucid dreamer.
How then do we reclaim our throne? How do we override the biological programming that forces us to forget? Thoth left behind specific keys in the emerald tablets, and when we combine them with modern techniques, we create a protocol that is nearly unbreakable. It begins not when you close your eyes, but while you are wide awake. The first key is the reality check, but we must elevate it to a ritual. Thoth instructs the initiate to look for the light. In our modern context, we use the hands. Throughout your day, stop what you are doing. Look at your palms. Study the lines. Ask yourself seriously, am I dreaming right now? Don't just say the words. Feel the question. Test the physics of the room. Try to push your finger through your other palm. By repeating this in the waking state, you imprint a pattern into your subconscious. Eventually, you will do it in the dream, but when you do it there, your finger will pass through your hand, and the shock will wake you up. But here is the forbidden secret we added for this congregation, drawn from the lost chapters of alchemy. The mechanical check is not enough. You must encode your intention with a frequency. Before you sleep, as you lie in the dark, do not let your mind wander to the troubles of the day. Instead, perform Bentov's still point technique. Visualize a point of blue light in the center of your brain, the pineal stargate. As you drift into the hypnagogic state, that slippery slope between wake and sleep, mentally chant this affirmation. It is a translation of the ancient intent: body asleep, mind awake. I am the watcher at the gate. Repeat it: body asleep, mind awake. Do not move your physical body. If you feel an itch, ignore it. That is the body testing to see if the mind is offline. Stay still. Stay conscious. You will feel vibrations, a loud buzzing, or a sensation of falling. Do not panic. This is the sound matrix, adjusting your frequency. Ride the vibration. Let it pull you out of the body and into the simulation, fully aware, fully in control. Why go through the struggle? Why fight the comfort of oblivion? Because, my friends, this is not a game. It is a rehearsal. The 7 alchemical stages of soul transformation clearly imply that the state of your consciousness at the moment of death determines your trajectory in the afterlife. When you die, your biological computer shuts down, the screen goes black, but you, the observer, do not. You are ejected into the exact same space you visit every night, the astral plane. If you have spent your entire life sleeping through your dreams, reacting blindly to nightmares and illusions, you will do the same in death. You will be swept away by the karmic contracts and the hallucinations of your own unresolved subconscious, trapped in a cycle you do not understand. But the lucid dreamer is ready. They have been here before. They recognize the landscape. When the clear light appears, they do not turn away in fear. They recognize it as their own nature. They can navigate the bardo. They can choose their next timeline. They can hack the reincarnation cycle. This is the ultimate secret Itzhak Bentov tried to share. The universe is a conscious hologram, and you are only a prisoner of it as long as you believe the projection is realer than the projector. So, tonight, you have a choice. You can lay your head down, scroll through your phone until your eyes burn, and collapse into the black void of the unconscious, leaving your soul unguarded at the threshold. Or you can prepare. You can look at your hands. You can set your intention. You can treat your bed not as a place of rest, but as a launch pad. The gate is open. The codes have been delivered. The only thing missing is you. If this knowledge has sparked a memory in your blood, do not let it fade. Hit that like button to signal the algorithm that you are awake. Share this video with the one person you want to meet on the other side. And remember, the dream is real. The reality is the illusion. I'll see you in the next dimension.